Cutters, Degrassi, unpopular opinions. Hey there, hey there, hey there. It's Jeff Cutter. I'm welcoming you to another Degrassi unpopular opinions slash hot take. And this is one of the biggest hot takes that I didn't even think about, but happened in the gap of Degrassi that I rarely watched at all. For those of you who should know, the first few seasons of Degrassi Next Gen, from 1 to 3, I actually watched kind of religiously in a sense. But then when came to Kitchener to go to college and all that, I didn't really watch Degrassi that much. I had other things on my mind. And then, it was off and on for like season 7 and 8 and all that. But then, I stopped watching every so often. And then at times I would just gravitate towards Degrassi and all that. I watched that summer finale of season 14 that was basically supposed to be the end of Degrassi whatsoever. But then Tristan said that, there's going to be a whole new class and whole new problems. And I'm like, oh, great. They didn't want to why did they say they wanted to cancel it? So then I watched Next Class off and on and all that. But anyway, the major gap is in seasons 11 and 12. A storyline came that Drew was in love with a girl named Bianca, who seemed like trouble and seemed to have weird connections. Drew's mom basically didn't want Drew to hang out around Bianca because she was trouble. Drew went against Audra's wishes and basically wanted to be with Bianca. However, there was a guy by the name of, what is that guy? Anson, who was stalking Bianca. And basically, Anson wants to rape Bianca. Drew stops him, but then Anson tries to destroy Drew until Bianca picks up a rock and smashes it outside of Anson's head, killing him instantly. They flee, but Bianca's bracelet gets left at the scene, and someone picks it up. We soon learn that Vince picked it up, and basically Vince knew about who killed his best friend and gang member. So basically what you got is a bit of a problem. However, when you look at things, it's like, like Vince is going to destroy Drew. Of course, Drew takes the fall for Bianca, knowing that Bianca will be in so much trouble if she gets caught. So Drew tells everyone that he killed Anson, whereas, Bianca is lucky. And a lot of people are upset that Drew would take the fall for Bianca because, Drew's in love with Bianca, will do anything. And of course, Drew's mom is not too happy that Drew will do anything to save the relationship with Bianca. Worst part about it is that Bianca ends up having to do strange things for Vince in exchange for Vince not telling anyone that Bianca was the one who killed Anson. Drew basically tries to get himself up into fighting shape and basically beat up Vince in a one-on-one battle. But of course, Bianca tells Drew that basically she's being forced to do stuff, but she's doing it for the benefit of Drew, saying that as long as Vince is happy, Vince won't go after Drew. But then at the dance, I think Drew talks to Vince, saying, "You can't scare me," or something like that. And then Vince basically barges into the school dance with a firearm, trying to find Drew and all that. Bianca's shocked that Drew would talk to Vince, saying that, "You talk to him? What are you doing? It's never over." So Vince decides to shoot at somebody. And then he ends up getting Adam, who's got a gunshot wound. But thankfully, Adam survives without much damage. Vince shoots a couple times and then flees the scene. Bianca then picks up Vince's gun and basically goes to the clubhouse to try to kill Vince and end this once and for all. But Drew and everyone else convince her that it's not the right thing to do. Adam gets shot. Drew takes responsibility for his mistakes and basically tells his mom that Bianca will need a good lawyer because, of course, Bianca will be in trouble and all that, and someone might go after Bianca. So Drew and Bianca are together and all that. Bianca then actually decides to better herself, and she gets Mrs. Torres to help her out. And Bianca seems to be a good person and all that. She does waver a little bit, but Bianca wants to go through her schooling and basically all that. Drew and Bianca almost eloped in Las Vegas, but Drew's mom stopped him from making a big mistake. I think Drew was just feeling vulnerable and all that. So the point is about Vince is that, Vince was doing these gang thing activities. He was forcing Bianca to do stuff for him so that Drew and his friends wouldn't get hurt. And like freaking he takes a gun and shoots Adam and all that. And yet, well, that's season 11 or is it 12? I can't remember. But anyway, regardless, in season 13 and 14, we see Vince. It's like, how did Vince get out of jail that quickly? It's like, maybe, how? How? It doesn't make sense how Vince got out so quickly. Because someone wrote a Reddit post saying that, how did Vince come back in season 13? Person said, I've been rewatching the old episodes and something confused me. Vince, the drug dealer that harassed Drew and Bianca and shot Adam, is the same Vince that threatened Sig in season 13. And it's no sense because he was arrested for shooting Adam at the end of the episode. Possession of a firearm would have got him 3 to 5 years in jail, and shooting Adam could get him up to 14 years. And that if he didn't have a criminal record, which is unlikely. And that if he didn't have a criminal record. So the charges would have been higher. I mean, he was a drug dealer and there would have been a warrant. Plus, Bianca testified against him, which likely brought up how he blackmailed threatened her into sex, which is rape. No way this guy came back in just 2 years. I know this is actually a fresh post because when I'm taping this, it's only been 13 hours since. But I mean, like, it just doesn't make sense with this guy. It's like, how did Degrassi bring him back in? He did all this stupid shit and he would have been in jail for like a decade plus, 10 plus years. And yet he was still there. But maybe he was just awaiting trial, waiting sentencing, and basically was out somehow on some kind of bond or something. That could be it. But it just strikes me. It's like, it doesn't make sense. But you also got to realize that, Vince's stuff basically was a stepping stone for how Tiny tried to get out of the gang life, realizing that he can't be like his brother, and he decides to put himself through things and basically all that. I don't know how Tiny gets raised because I know he was living with Vince. But with Vince going to jail, I mean, it doesn't make sense. But you got to realize that things are not what they seem to be. So anyway, yeah, it just doesn't make sense how Vince ended up coming back so quickly. But he did disappear. So in the end, it all worked out. But yeah, I mean, the guy freaking causes a lot of havoc, and yet he showed up somehow. But I think maybe he just was out until he got sentenced. And basically, it could have been another black guy. Someone might have got confused. But anyway, I don't know. So anyway, that's all I've got for this one. Stay tuned for new ones.